This is Saxon Math for 6th grade. Today we're working on lesson 37. We're going to be finding area of triangles as well as area of complex rectangles. Let's start with the fun part. Please follow along as I do this today. Please don't skip ahead because I want to make sure that you understand why the formula is the way it is. Let's look at this shape first of all. I've drawn a rectangle. Can you see my black rectangle? A rectangle has a base and a height. And you already know that the base times the height of a rectangle gives you its area. I split my rectangle in half then and turned it into a triangle. Do you see how I put a line straight from corner to corner? Now I have a right triangle that has the same base. The base of a triangle is always the bottom line. And it has the same height. The height always comes at a right angle to the base and goes to the top point. It has the same base and the same height, but it shouldn't have the same area. It should have only half the area of a rectangle. Because of that, the formula for area of a triangle is the base times the height, just like area of a rectangle, divided by 2. See how there would be 2 of these triangles that would fit in here? If you take the area of the rectangle and divide by 2, you'll get the area of a triangle. Now thankfully this works with all triangles, not just pretty right ones. If you have a triangle that looks like this, the base is the bottom line, the height is going to be the distance to the top. Even though there's not a line here, I've drawn one in with little dots. Do you see that? That's so you can know that this distance is the height. Even if you have a crazy obtuse triangle, the base is the distance on the bottom from here to here. The height is if you extended this line over and then went straight up at a right angle to the topmost point. This would be the height. Base times height divided by 2 gives you area of a triangle. Let's try one together. And we'll try one with the crazy triangle. The bottom is 5. The longest side here is 7. And if we extended this over and then went straight up, the distance between the bottom and the top would be 4. Well, the bottom is the base, and the distance from the bottom at a right angle to the topmost point is the height. According to our formula, the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. My base is 5 times my height is 4 divided by 2. 5 times 4 is 20 divided by 2 is 10. My best answer for this would be 10 units squared. Base times height divided by 2. The other objective for this lesson is area of complex rectangles. Here I have a rectangle. And there's a couple ways to see this. Right now it looks sort of like a funny L. If we wanted to find the area of this funny L-looking shape, there's 2 ways to look at it. Either way is correct. Either way will get you the correct answer. Here's way 1. Way 1 is to say, that's not a crazy L. That's actually a big rectangle with a piece taken out. You see what I did? I just extended these lines, and now I have a large, perfect rectangle, and we took out a piece. Let's solve it this way, and then we'll look at the other way to see it. If this was a large, perfect rectangle, this side is 23. This full side also then would be 23. This side is 12, and so this full side also would be 12. The area of my full rectangle, including that piece then, would be 23 times 12. But I don't want the area of just the whole rectangle. I want the area of this L. In order to find that, I need to find the area of the whole thing and then subtract out the area of just this smaller rectangle here. So let's do that. Let's find the area of the whole thing first. 23 times 12. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. 6, 7, 2. So there are 276 square units in the whole thing. Now let's subtract out this piece, and whatever's left will be my area of the L. This piece, it's not the full 23 long, it stops here. Wait a second. If this whole thing is 23, and this piece is 10, what's left? 23 minus the 10 means this piece must be 13. 10 plus 13 more gives me the whole 23. Then looking at this side over here, 12 is this whole piece, but I've already got 7 of it here. 7 plus 5 more gives me the 12, that's the whole piece. Now if this side's 13 and this side's 5, I can multiply 13 times 5 to get the area of this little triangle, this little rectangle, and then subtract it from the whole thing. Let's do that. 13 times 5, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 1 is 5, this one is 6. The area of the smaller rectangle would be 65. Now let's subtract. The area of the whole thing minus the area of the smaller rectangle will give me the area of the L left over. 6 minus 5 is 1, 7 minus 6 is 1, 2. So the area of the L would be 211 square units. If you haven't yet gotten this down, please pause the video so you can get it in your notes. I want to show you one other way. Pause it, look back if you don't have it. All right, not everybody sees it that way. Some people, when they look at this, they see it very differently. They start with the exact same shape and they say, I see this shape as 2 smaller rectangles. I see it as a long rectangle and a shorter rectangle. And that's fine too. Let's find the area of this longer rectangle and add it to the area of the shorter rectangle. The longer rectangle, I have a 12 here, but that's 12 for the whole side. That's not particularly helpful since I only went from here to here. But from here to here is 7. 7, that means this piece here is 7. This is 23, which means this top piece across is 23. Base times height is area of a rectangle. So 23 times 7. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. This bottom rectangle would be 161 square units. Now let's find the area of the smaller rectangle and add them together. I see that the base is going to be 10. Now I need to find these sides. There's nothing marked here, and this side certainly can't be 12 because 12 is the whole thing. But if the whole thing is 12 and this part is 7, then this part must be 5. Because 7 plus 5 more would make the 12. That's the whole thing. 5 times 10 makes 50. Either way, we get 211 square units as our final answer. 50 is 5 times